if you want to have maximum control on the width and precision of what you're printing. So I'm going to show you why it's awesome, and we're going to go through a bunch of examples, and there's a little bonus at the end. All right, let's begin. So just as a reminder, here's all the format specifiers that you need to know. %S, that's for strings. %D, that's for a decimal integer, not a double. Be careful. %F is for a floating point number, so in your brain think decimal. %C is for a character. You're probably going to use that least of all. And %% actually helps you make the percent within a string, okay? Because if you just do 1%, it's going to expect some other key letter afterwards. If you do 2%, it's going to know that you actually want to make the literal percent symbol, literally the percent symbol, the literal percent symbol. All right. A couple other things. You may have seen me do decimal format videos. So this is helpful for precision when printing. Sort of similar and related to that. If you do %5s, that'd be like saying I want five spaces for this string minimally. S for string %, you're doing a format specifier. 5, I want minimum width of 5 characters. So even if my string is 2 characters, you're going to give me 3 more lily pads of space. If you want to specify precision, typically you're going to use %.2f. That's for floating point precision to 2 decimal points. You would use that with money, just like I did in my decimal formatter example. All right, so we got a bunch of to-dos here. All right, after these to-dos, and then, I don't want to show the bonus just yet. After these to-dos, you're going to be a wizard at printf. So now we're going to go through each of them, and we'll sort of reiterate the things that we've seen so far. So the tricks of the trade today, system.out.printf. I'm going to have that copy and pasted. All right, so now we're going to fill in these gaps for each of them. All right, so you might just want to do like system.out.println, but we're going to get used to doing this exactly a certain way. So you might think like, I'm just going to print out hello Mark. That's what I was just thinking about doing. However, what we're going to do is we're going to put the string in because it might be someone else's name that you would want to do. Okay, so that's our string. We're saying hello, and we're going to put the person's name. Let's put Mark in there. Okay, so quite often it'll be, you might put a variable in there, or you could actually put the little literal string that you want to go there. Okay, so that's our first one. Again, typically it might be a variable here. So let's say we had like a string name equals Bobo. What we would do is we would just put name in, and that would go, it's like Mad Libs, it would just get filled in where the %s is. That string variable would just get slotted in there. So I guess it would say hello Bobo with an exclamation point. Okay, let's do another one. We'll just build up our skills here. So now we're printing out a total. So let's see. We want to say total. I don't want to yell it at you. I'm going to say total. Now, I notice that we're dealing with money. So don't forget you want a $sign. And then we're going to be using a floating point number with 2 decimal points of precision. So that's why we have the 0.2f. F for floating point, meaning it's a decimal. We want to go 2 to the right because we're dealing with money. So here's a specific example, but this would work for any general money amount, maybe that you threw in a variable, or you just tossed in at the end. And so here I'm going to do the 123.45 afterwards. That double, that floating point to 2 decimal places, will get slotted in right there. All right, so we're 2 for 2. Our third to do, you'll notice this score, there's 2 lily pads of space to the left. Perhaps this is like some pinball game where no one's ever gotten 6 digits before. they've got a maximum 5 digits, but you didn't do so hot. Well, now we're going to print out our score. Now we are going to use a digit here, but what I'd love to do is I'd love to have 5 lily pads of space, minimally. Okay, so that's going to give me some nice spacing. And we'll put in my 385 right there. Okay, and we'll run all these, but I mean, we'll run all of them, but these are the answers, I promise. Okay, so again, that would be useful if someone else had other high scores and you want like that neatness. For some reason, you want this spacing of 5. Like I said, maybe people don't get higher than 5-digit scores in your pinball or something. But you want that spacing. Sure, that's fine. Okay, now next up, we've got another money option. So I might even snag this right here. So now we're dealing with money. Again, commonly we want to format money. We're going to go to 2 decimal places. Again, don't forget your $sign. It looks like we have a space there. And we'll go $50.99. Okay. So there's nothing real different there, except there is a little subtlety. I kind of want to merge to do 2 and to do 3 here. What I'd like to do is right after the percentage, I'd like to give myself a little bit of space. It looks like 3 digits of spacing, or maybe you even want to go for 5. Who knows? But so let's go for 3 because it sort of looks like there is 3 digits of spacing here. So we can kind of go with that. All right, and I'll run that one. We'll kind of key in on to do 4. That's a hybrid of to do 2 and to do 3. To do 5 is meant to be weird, I promise. We're now going to be doing a percentage. So you have to be careful because you need 2 percentage symbols in order to get a percentage to show amidst your printfs, okay? So we've got 2 decimals. We've got a percent. We're going to go 2 decimal places. This is floating point. And, folks, it is, in fact, a percentage, so you need 2 percentage symbols there. And then I'll throw in my 75.51. All right? So 2 percentage symbols will make the 1% symbol that we actually need. This first percentage symbol we'll put in our floating point decimal. Okay? And last but not least, it's pretty niche. You'll probably use this the least, but it's still important. We now have a character. So maybe it's someone's favorite character, favorite initial. I don't know. But now we'll do %C. Like maybe we had a char initial. Maybe we put an X in there. What we can do is we can just plop this variable in here. And that variable, named initial of type char, will get plugged in for the C. And so we'll get character X as the output. Now, before we get to the added bonus, I just want you to be aware that you can kind of merge these things together. So we could do something like system.out.printf. We had variables for a character, and we also had a variable for a name. So character %C with name, that's a string, %S, and then we can put in our character variable because that comes up first, and then the name variable is of type string. That's why we have %S next. Okay, so you can You can really go for it here. Now let's run this. I'm starting to show the bonus. It is kind of sweet. We'll poke and prod that. It's kind of interesting. So now if we print this all, there's one interesting unintended consequence that I would like to show you about. So there's a couple of bonuses in this video. You'll notice all of these are on the same line. Oh, whoops. Well, here's something that's interesting. %n gives you a /n, aka a new line. So let's just toss those in real quick here, folks. And let's see. Let's see if this looks a little bit better. There we go. Now we have our new lines. Hello, Bobo. Everything looks nice. We have our 5 characters for the score. We have an extra spot to the left of the decimal point because we said that we wanted minimum width 3. Now, another thing with that, let's say the dollar amount was $50,123.99, and we said we want a minimum width 3. It would just kind of sandwich that in and there'd be no problem there. Oh, I suppose I should probably do it really right here, though. Okay, let's try that again. Silly rabbit. And so now we have 5 digits to the left of the decimal point, and it's going to facilitate that quite nicely. No problem. All right. So it adjusts. Everything's adjustable. It's quite nice. And so there was our hybrid. You could throw in more things. You could throw in a %f, a %.2f if you have floating point, if you have some double that you want to throw in that maybe has to do with money to 2 decimal places. We could throw that in as well, and we just dump each variable or each argument on the right-hand side, and they just get plugged in one by one. So first the string, first the character, because from left to right we see that first, then the string, and then recall the /n just puts us to a new line. Here's a little added bonus. So a couple little bonuses. Hopefully you stayed around till the end here. Let's zoom in a little bit here. This is kind of nice and neat. Here we have a nicely printed table. All right, so we have ID, name, and age. Those are our 3 columns. So this actually looks pretty sweet. Now notice we have a string, and a string, because ID, name, and age, they're all in quotes. They're all strings. Next, the ID of Alice is a digit, so we'll do D. It's an integer. We have S for Alice, because that's a name, that's a string. And then the age will do D again as well. It's an integer value, decimal valued number, no F's necessary. And then same thing for ID2, name Bob, age 25. Now, what's nice is the 5s give us that padding. Minimum width 5 for the ID. Minimum width 10 for the name. Well, that's nice and neat. Minimum width 5. I guess we don't have any minimum width for the age. Okay, that makes sense. So another little interesting thing, you might say, well, there's some dashes here. Well, let's see what happens if we take away the dashes, because we haven't seen dashes yet. Intriguing. What does that mean? Well, let's see here. So we're going to have a nicely formatted table. Ooh, I think we really want the dashes so that it'll left align it, because this looks yucky. So let's undo. Give us those dashes. And then again, we run it. It's going to nicely left align our table and make it look super beautiful. All right. So I hope that this Printf demo was helpful and useful for you. Feel free to like and subscribe, and keep on coding. Have a beautiful day. Thank you.